2021 had plenty of bad movies, but here are the worst films of the year. These particular pictures were only made to indoctrinate people and turn them into miseducated consumers. They are bad for film culture and for the mind, body, and soul. A movie featuring all of the egocentric drama dweebs you knew from high school. These insufferable brats have nothing good to say. They just want to be seen. Steven Spielberg wants to convince audiences that nothing has changed since the 1960s. Joel Haver, a YouTube filmmaker, is too busy trying to prove that anyone can make art, instead of trying to prove that anyone can make good art. And it's to no one's surprise he said this about the art form. He says that Marty can't make a good movie for free because he doesn't know cinema beyond money. But the thing is, Marty wants people to respond to important cinema, art that will tell us what it means to be human. Joel, on the other hand, thinks 10 hours of footage of a blue screen is art because it costs no money. He falsely claims that anything can be cinema. I think if everything is cinema, then nothing is cinema. The infantilization of pop culture. To make Eternals appear cinematic and fool adult audiences into believing they are experiencing something mature and genuine, they hired a female indie director and marketed the film as the first grown-up movie in the MCU. An ugly revenge fantasy. There's no self-reflection, honor, wisdom, or morality in this fake Western movie, and it attempts to rewrite history in order to pander to certain demographics. I suppose it only reflects our current cultural values. Our history is being rewritten, viewers and artists are in a state of arrested development, and the people who are changing the culture proclaim sinful things to be good. One of the many recent films that wants to erase white culture. Joel Cohen and the diverse team disrespect Shakespeare and European history. The writers of the film, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, hired a woman as a third writer in order to provide a female perspective. It looks at the truth in 3 different ways, 2 told by men and 1 by a woman, but it pretends to be fair and objective. Affleck and Damon are not interested in the truth. They just want viewers to believe all women. Don't be fooled by the 1960s fashion and music. It's not a love letter to the decade. It's an attempt to shame individuals who appreciate the past, and it's another example of historical revisionism. This reboot is reimagined in the worst way. Instead of it being a silly B movie, it gets political and portrays Middle America as backwards. It's a reminder that Hollywood hates the backbone of the country. The soap commercial is not about selling soap. The Tony Soprano movie is not about Tony Soprano.
Find today, when you turn on the stations, sit on one station for 2 hours, and I don't know how many commercials you'll see. Lay 8 to 5. 2 to 3 out of 5 have mixed race couples in them. That's not by accident. They're selling soap, man. Not a joke. Remember old Pat Caddell used to say, you want to know what's happening in American culture? Watch advertising. Because they want to sell what they have.
The worst James Bond film and a total castration of 007. Hollywood and the establishment want to destroy our icons, monuments, culture, and replace them with ugliness. No Time to Die continues the pattern seen in cinema, the deconstruction of the traditional male hero. A subversive, nihilistic body horror picture. The feminist director tries to push gender-bending politics and trans rights, as well as smash the patriarchy. She'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, even if it means that psychopathic violence is the answer. It is acting on screen what they want to do and what they have done in real life to white people. If you know someone who likes this movie, watch your back. An anti-motherhood piece of propaganda, written and directed by an unhappy woman who wants all women to be as unhappy as her. The most obnoxious film of 2021. These out-of-touch celebrities actually believe they know more than everyone else. There isn't an ounce of sincerity on the screen. A boring and hateful film that deconstructs masculinity in the Western genre. Someone who claims to love Westerns and men wouldn't make such an ugly film. And the worst film of the year, the biggest piece of propaganda. 104 minutes of propaganda. They want us to trust the science or else.